wonderful people, I greet you all according to our time. My people, not be small matter. When I tell you, say reason day when they do all this, they say they want go Niger, they want send soldier go Niger, go restore democracy. You will not believe me. Make una watch this first video when I want play for now. This video when I want play for now, yeah, reach 3. They will now go hear waiting different people. These 3 videos I will watch and I will understand what they try to talk. But this first one, I don't understand. Even this gas, the matter, the way he take the vest, he come vest pass we will be the Nigeria because this guy now from Gambia. Make I leave with them, watch this video. And this video at the end, it get funny. Make una just watch this video. Make I leave with them, watch this first video first.
Even if they will sacrifice millions of soldiers, this is their mentality that they must make sure that they restore Bosum into power. Because if Bosum is not restored into power, Western peoples have put a sanction on Bola Tinubu, Gambian president, Senegal president, and Ghana president. They have a big sanction. They have a big sanction on top of their head that is making them so strong to do whatever they have to do to make sure that they restore Bosum into power. Because West have warned them. And West have already paid them, they bribed them and put sanction on top of that bribe. That if Bosum is not restored, then visa will be banned from all these countries that are. And even World Bank, they will ban them from borrowing from World Bank. World Bank will no more borrow these countries. Bola Tinubu, Adama Barrow, Gambian president, Senegal president, Macky Sall, Ghana president, Akufo-Addo. The World Bank will not borrow them anymore. This is the sanction they put on them, and they will not have a visa to come to Western countries anymore if they don't make sure that they restore. This is why Africa, your leaders are like a lion today. They are like a lion today because they feel like if they lose the visa to come to the Western countries, then that is a big problem for them. But even if they lose the resources of their country, they don't care. Even if they lose millions of soldiers, they don't care. The only thing they care is the visa. But how many European prime ministers are going to Africa without visa? Do you ask them for visa? Do you ever ban the European prime ministers for visa? Why can't you ban European prime ministers, European parliament official members? Why don't you ban them with African visa? Ban them, never to have African visa. Africa is its own continent and Africa has its own documents. Even Western leaders, their prime ministers, their president must not go to Africa without a visa, and that visa must be very expensive and clear. It is not going to be like a Western prime minister will wake up one morning and say, oh, today evening I will be in Africa, and the evening he go to Africa directly without even buying a ticket. He take a private jet, boom, go to Africa without visa, without applying for nothing. But you, the African leaders, are fools. Bola Tinubu, you don't understand. Because you are just like a child. I don't blame you. You are a big Bola Tinubu.
Also, I don't want that first video finish. Okay. So make I play the second one for now. Also. So
Tinubu knows something that Nigerians don't know. And it is clear to some of us what he thinks that Nigerians don't know. Is that there is an attempt for the Tinubu regime to take this action as a form of self-preservation for itself. But let us return back to our history. Why do soldiers plot coups? Soldiers plot coups because governments fail, to be representative of what? Of their mass of the working people. And it was Babangida who classically pointed this out, explaining why they took over power in Nigeria, that they wait for elections to be conducted, to be rigged, and on that basis, so classically, Nigeria itself is ripe for such an action, even though we must point out that we are opposed to military coups as well. But in saying that we are opposed to war, does it now mean that we must come in defense of the coup plotters that have taken over power in the Niger Republic or in all of these other African countries? We must say no to that as well. And this point must be made quite clear. The jihadists themselves, what interests do they represent? Are they empowering the working masses to become those who will decide the affairs of their destiny? So far in the Niger Republic, that point.
Hope now the year something. See, when I dey talk and say every time here say, see, things dey happen wey we no know. We fit think say maybe because these things, reach the day where these things dey go on. Not be same month. Make una watch the last video as una wan watch this last video abeg make una dey share my video, make una dey support me na, e no easy, make una still dey support me abeg, make una dey share my video, make una dey give am like so that Facebook go fit dey recommend my con ten t give other people abeg. And if you believe say yes Peter Obi go fit reclaim our mandate, abeg make you type amen and share this video. God bless you all.
To put it graphically, a war against Niger for Nigeria is like a civil war. It's like fighting ourselves. That's putting it graphically. That's why you know that it's a no-go area.
Can we afford this war?
And so when you look at it that way, these guys are trained officers. They are generals involved. Some of them training. I've been in different courses, Star College, War College, with some of their senior officers. Some of them who came here as defense attaché and so on. We know one another. So they know the system. They've been part of the system. So they know what is a threat. They know what is a credible threat. They know what is a futile, phantom, pseudo threat. They know these things. So there's nothing you are telling them that is strange to them. Now, this thing goes beyond cool. We should be asking ourselves, what were the causes? What were the conditions precedent that fueled this coup? Okay? Like it has happened in those other countries. What are our leaders, the African, civilian leaders? Because we really are not practicing democracy. The African civilian leaders, what are they doing wrong that are creating the leverage for the military to even be thinking of a state back? What can we do to correct those issues? Now, for the external influences, what is the state of their relationship with this francophone country? I mean, their mother of Africa and a daughter, Dr. Arikana, and this lady from Kenya, Yombango, they've all spoken about the issue of the African francophone countries coming to a point where they are becoming increasingly restive, tired, and dissatisfied with the state of relationship.
Yeah, and most of these coups have been happening in the francophone countries.
Yes.
Surprisingly.
So we should be seeing that as warning signals, indicators and indices of a pending problem. And like I mentioned in the last outing, that I hope we are not seeing a Sahel spring, facing us and staring us in the face. And instead we're just focusing on the coup issue. Let's learn all the lessons that we can learn and begin to preemptively put some reforms in place. Some social service. You can see the way the people supported the coup.
I mean, that
tells you that there is something beyond
for ECOWAS, because
yes.
I mean, these people are coming out every day supporting the government and saying
so that tells you
this is their own government.
The coup actually has only echoed their voices. There are other issues, underlying issues.
And General, one of those other issues is the issues of the Wagner Group from Russia, and then the Nigerian coup plotters saying that, look, we have friends everywhere.